most people would have taken a plea.
Yes.
Whether they guilty or not guilty.
Absolutely.
Not me. Not me. I told him I'd rather take life imprisonment. I'm not going to admit to something that I didn't do.
So what was the district attorney saying once you got to court?
The same thing she said in the magistrate court. Profit to the court that I went to all these states to live in all these kilograms of cocaine.
Okay.
That was equivalent to $750 million. So the judge said, what are drugs?
Right.
She said, we have no drugs. He says, where the money? We have no money. Judge Recker, this man got a mustache that's curled up at the end. Yeah, his mustache is like curled up at the end, right? Mm-hmm. Man, he'll give you 1,000,000 years, I was told, if you found guilty. And of course, he slammed the gavel so hard and called for sidebar. When they went to sidebar, he said, for impeachment purposes, everything y'all said to bring this man in the courtroom, you better come back in here with the same information. And he says, why is this man here? Oh, he gave confidential law enforcement information, FCIC, NCIC. That's a document that I was showing you, Danny,
right,
before we start the podcast.
Right.
Well, the communication operator testified, Captain Munez, she said, I went to check. Mr. Hicks has not ran this information. It's controlled by your social security number. And she said, furthermore, there's a certificate of completion from FDOE. There's a sign-in sheet. And she said, Mr. Hicks has not ran this information. Then they lied and said I was on audio tape. When they played the tape for the jury and the judge, I just showed you where it says missing documents turn up in deputy lawsuit, where the same person who arrested me at my home, it was him on the tape giving the information they said I gave.
What was his name?
Bernard Brown.
Bernard Brown.
Internal Affairs called him down there. Sergeant Joseph Fitzpatrick called him down there and interviewed him. Next thing you know, he admitted that it was him on the tape. He was promoted to a detective.
After they found out it was him on the tape?
Yes, after they found out that it was him on the tape. The same tape I let you listen to, I let Mark listen to, and I let Matthew listen to is the same tape that they called him in there from Internal Affairs. And guess what? He admitted that it was him on the tape. And they promoted him to detective.
Did he have to leave that department and go to another department?
No, he stayed with the Broward Sheriff's Office.
He stayed with the Broward Sheriff's Department.
Absolutely. Everybody was promoted. They still work over there right now to this day. There is no accountability. There is no transparency. But I'm very optimistic that when the right people and the right person hear this situation, I can promise you that they're going to know that Raymond Lamar Hicks was not a criminal. Mm-hmm. And that's why I thank God for Miss Jane Turner. I love this lady. I love this lady. Miss Sarah, yourself, Danny, Matthew Cox, Mark Later. Man, I love you guys, man. It wasn't by coincidence. God knew, because I've been praying for 21 years. I've been fighting for 21 years. Mm-hmm. And that's after losing everything. My home, my cars, my finances. I couldn't even feed my family. I was applying for food stamps and unemployment. I couldn't get it. And the person I told you, he gave me a job as a laborer, gas and naked, making $9 an hour, working 13 hours a day. The same person who went to prison 2 or 3 times was the same individual that gave me a job as a laborer. Mm-hmm. Now guess what? His son worked out with the Miami Dolphins, Jonathan Akins. His other son, Marquise Aiken, worked out with Jacksonville Jaguars. He owned his own construction company right now.
Wow.
So people can change.
Who's this?
Is that Bernard Brown?
That's Bernard Brown.
So Bernard Brown was the person behind all of this.
Bernard Brown was the person who arrested me. That guy right there.
But was he sort of like the spearhead behind this whole thing against you?
No.
Okay.
No. It was Joseph Damiano, who's still working at the Broward Sheriff's Office right now.
Okay.
Richard Pasanti, Ricky Clark, William Caneen, all of these people.
And they all wanted to do this because they feared that you were going to expose some of the stuff that they were doing.
Well, absolutely. In 1999, my wife and I bought a Mercedes-Benz. You're going to read it in the book. The car was a 1990. It was a 1993. We bought the car in 1999. It cost us $37,000. I got the documents and everything. Mm-hmm. But BSO tried to use an informant, Ansel Pratt, that I just showed you,
right,
who was arrested. He was the one telling all these lies. He the one came up with the $750 million. He the one came up with 350 kilograms of coke. He came up with, I was giving confidential law enforcement information. That guy.
And you said they paid him?
Yeah, they paid him. They paid him $20,000 and $15,000.
That's documented?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. So they went in my car. My brother was washing my car. And when they went in the car, they said, how could your brother afford this car? He must be selling drugs. So when my brother called me, I went to the location where he was, so I called communication. And when I called communication, I said, can you have the sergeant 56 me at my 1020? Which means have the sergeant meet me at my location. Mm-hmm. Well, the sergeant never showed up. So when he didn't show up, I called my lieutenant, Ron Thompson. And I said, Sergeant Thompson, the drug task force just went in my car because they call them the Raiders. In the hood, they called the drug task force the Raiders, the jump out boys. So of course that's the same group that I was working with. So of course he said, Ray, when you get to work, go down to Internal Affairs and file your complaint. I went down to Internal Affairs. I spoke to Sergeant Charles Take. And when I spoke to Sergeant Charles Take of Internal Affairs, he said he had other complaints from the community where those same individuals was misusing their authority. And he was going to conduct a thorough investigation. Well, even though my investigation wanted an investigation, my complaint, they never did a thorough investigation. These people sent me death threats. They told me and my wife, they told me I'd be lying in my room in a pile of blood. I'll be lying in my room in a pile of blood.
Who sent these death threats?
The Broward Sheriff Office.
How did they send them?
They left it on my answer machine. Yeah. So I called communication, and I called communication 911, and I told them, I said, my name is Raymond Hicks. I'm a former deputy sheriff for the Broward Sheriff Office. My CC is 4693. Can you dispatch a unit to my home because I'm receiving death threats? They left it on my answer machine saying I'll be lying in my room in a pile of blood.
You got that saved?
It's gone. Everything is missing now because we was kicked out of the house.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So what I did is this. It's been recorded because when I called communication, they dispatched a unit to my home. The guy's name is Rick Watson. Deputy Rick Watson came to my house. I said, Rick, listen to this audio tape. Listen to what they left on my answer machine. And when he listened to it, he said, Ray, be careful, man. You know how these people play. Mm-hmm. I told him, I said, the only thing I need you to do is a 98A Alpha, which is a written report. That's when I called my mom, and I went and bought an AK with 180 rounds. I told my mom, you might as well go get your black dress, man. Because I'm not going to let these people come in and kill me and my whole family.
Right. Right.
But my mom said, whoa, wait a minute, son. But did not God deliver you? Are you not there in your home with your faith? And this was before I got kicked out the house. And I took the gun back to the same people that I got the gun for. It's a shame, man. It's a disgrace. But to this day, I still love law enforcement. I tell anybody that. When I wore the uniform, how about this? Several people have watched the video that Matt put up and Mark put up. And may God be my witness. Some of them from the Broward Sheriff Office. Ray, I'm sorry, man.
Oh, really?
I'm talking about captains, lieutenants, sergeants, deputies.
Any of the guys involved in your case?
No.
None of those guys ever reached out.
No.
I bet you they've seen it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And they know I'm speaking the truth.
Mm-hmm.